across somebody that said something to you that said, you know, there's something wrong, and the person didn't speak English, they could call that number, and they have many languages that are spoken there. The other thing too, you could call that number and said, you know, I'm really confused, I saw this, and I'm not too sure, and they would tell you what, this is what you're looking for. So I always pass that number around because it's really an important number for people who are concerned about the issue of human trafficking. I'm going to stop now, and I'm going to let you, if there's some questions, because it's such a large, it's such a big issue. But before I let you ask questions, I left my card back there too, in case you belong to a group, and because I heard people belong to different type of groups, and you wanted us to come and do a human trafficking 101, just the basics, some of the things that I've shared with you. We're more than willing to come in and do that. But and that's on the table back there with some other. Yet what I did, what's back there is, oh, here it is, something that we put together. It's called Human Trafficking of Persons and Modern Day Slavery. And there's some resources. There's a nice handout with, you know, gives you really good information on human trafficking. There's also a sheet with some information on resources if you want further information. Okay, I'm going to stop now because I could go on and on and give you an opportunity to ask questions. Back there.
1 second, please. Put it like this.
And
so
I'll try to answer as best I can.
Put the microphone like this so they can hear you.
Yeah. Can you hear me then? Okay.
How about now?
Yeah.
Okay. So my name is Waitero Foran, and I remember seeing a program about a couple of years ago on TV about the situation. But what bothered me was that Canada, when somebody suspected of doing this trafficking outside of Canada, and they're reported, when they get back, they're actually caught and put in jail. But in the United States, that doesn't happen. So how about maybe working on changing those laws so these people don't go outside and commit these crimes and then come back here for a safe haven?
So your question is in relation to the person who is the victim that is put in jail? I couldn't.
No, my question is about the laws
I
in the
can't
United
hear.
States. My question is about the laws in the United States not being proactive in, how do you say, holding these traffickers who are going abroad and exploiting these children and women and then coming back to the United States. And even though they're being reported by the authorities from the other country, they are not accountable when they get back here. But Canada has that law and they do get prosecuted.
Okay. You know, the thing about our laws are really tricky. Now it's a Trafficking Victims Protection Act. We have that here in the United States, all right? Yeah, and it was just every once in a while they have to renew it. The thing about it is, and what I have found out is that, let's say there's somebody I come in contact with that I said, this woman, this man, this child has been trafficked. So I report that, and let's say I report it to the federal level. In order for them to give protection to that person and also allow that person to make the decision, do they want to go back to their country? I'm talking about a person that's been trafficked from another country here. What they have a certain criteria that they have to meet. And sometimes what happens, that the person, that protection, that law does not protect them because they don't meet the criteria. And let me just give you what the criteria is. This is at the federal. It's how the person has been recruited, harbored, or transported here from another country. And then you have to prove that it was out of force, fraud, or coercion. And then the other is usually the easiest, is that person was used for labor or for sexual exploitation. They have to meet all those three areas of criteria. Sure. I think, but You know, some laws don't work. And what I have found out, because we work with some attorneys and also with immigration, and unless you get somebody, not only do they have the skills, but they have the passion to take this thing to its furthest. Because what we have found out that in many cases, it takes years before a person can prove it by law. I don't know if I answered your question.
About the offender.
Pardon me?
I think she was talking about the offender.
The offender. Oh, the offender. Oh, I'm sorry. Actually, the laws aren't that great for the offender. Okay, but the new law, what we just voted in, California, 35. It was 35. I always get 34 and 35 mixed up. I think it was 35, the human trafficking that we passed. California just passed, what was it, November? Yes. And what part of that law is at this point is in the courts, because a part of that, they will not allow that part to be implemented. And that part is, if a person is identified as a sexual predator, he has a record, that the law would, if the law was implemented, then that person's, his or hers internet would be monitored by the police, by federal law. Then the other thing about that was that can be implemented, that more jail time and more fines. That's the law that we have. Are you familiar with it was Proposition 35? Yeah. It was just actually voted for in November. Actually, it was one of the things, just so you know about the law, is when that proposition was put out there, we had law enforcement and those people providing services not agreeing with it. And so, which was really hard, but anyway, Californians voted for it, and what I believe it is that it brought the awareness of human trafficking to a different level. And to me, that's the benefit. But, yeah. Okay, I'm sorry.
No problem. My name is John. My question is, after you save these young people from the harm that they may have been suffering, what do you do with them? What are the channels? What are the processes by which you can put them in the right place?
All right, what we do, and that's our partners, and I mentioned some of them, and it depends on the issue. Like some, because if it's a labor issue, then what they will do is that, first of all, they're going to try to prosecute the case, all right? If it's some of the children that are being exploited out there, they're put into a safe house. The problem is we don't have enough safe houses. And the thing that is, you don't just give them care, we give them food and clothing, that these kids have been traumatized. So there has to be multiple services need to be provided for them. There's a group in Oakland, and you could pick up one of the flyers there. It's called Missy, and Missy works with exploited youth. They don't have a residence for them, but these young women, most of them are women. They're not. They've had a young boy occasionally, and they go in. They get all types of services for them. My friend Pat, who works with sexually exploited youth, which is not uncommon. These kids are being picked up because they're on the street corners. And what they do, they need to get these kids in a safe place. And the only safe place is juvenile hall, which is too bad, but there's no place to take them. So what they'll do, the police department, the arrangement they have, they call Pat. Pat is an advocate for them. And so Pat will meet the police when they make the arrest, and the pimp, and then also this young girl or boy who has been sexually exploited. Pat will be there, meets them, and says to them, "I'll be there at juvenile hall tomorrow early, and then we're going to talk about what the next step." And so what they'll do is try to find a place to place that that young kid. And I guess it's the services, that multiple services, but the reality of it, not just here in California or in the Bay Area, there are not enough places for these people that have been trafficked.
I have a question on rehabilitation of rescued children. I'm a supporter of adoption, and I know in the U.S. there are 74 million plus dogs, and about 68 million cats. They and other animals, they have more support and help from the federal and state government than adopting children. So what are some incentives that society and businesses can do in a collaborative way?
I think the only thing we could do, I think we need advocates. I think we need to, it's like to nag our politicians and to assure that we get the services, and to point out, yeah, our animals, our cats and dogs are being cared for a lot better than our children, and that's a reality. And all I could say is, for all of you, is that to be alerted to the situation. Now, all of you talked about your passion, and it's like, it's your passion that's going to drive you, because what I find out as I go to groups, and as I listen to all of you, I said, this is a group of very involved people. For me to say to you, you need to do one more thing, go, oh my gosh, I don't know if I can do one more thing. But it's like, if it's your passion, and especially if it has to do with passion around keeping our kids safe, which is my passion, then what do you need to do? And that is advocate. And I guess it's knowing the laws and to say, you know what, our law sucks. Really. It really protects the predator more than it does the victim. So it's just to be alerted to that. That would be my suggestion. I just want to say I want to share this with you if I could find it, but I got some stuff here. Oh, this is California, and I think we just got from our attorney, Kamala Harris, and they gave a report on 2012. It was a report on human trafficking in the state, and let me just share a couple of the facts. This is us. This is not across the ocean, but this is us. And this is what they say: California, a populous border state with a significant immigrant population, and the world's 9th largest economy, is one of the nation's top 4 destination states for trafficking human beings. Okay, who are the others? One of them is JFK Airport, but the other states are Texas and Florida. Why do you think Texas and Florida and California? What do we have?
Borders.
And water. Okay. The other thing is a new challenge for us in California, because what we're finding out is how people, especially youth, how they're being trafficked is through gangs. You hear that all the time in Oakland. The gangs are trafficking some of the individuals, and this is another new challenge for California. First, criminal organization and street gangs have increasingly turned to trafficking in persons because they find, and what I said to you, human trafficking is more profitable and has a lower risk of being detected than drug trafficking. The other thing, and I said to you, the internet. The internet, social media, and mobile devices provide new avenues of ways people are trafficked. The other thing too is, and I think it's, for me, it's like, what can you do? Kind of, what you can do is probably buy not cheap stuff, buy fair trade products. Because we like cheap stuff, but you know what? If you knew who was behind that, in many cases there are people who are trafficked. The other thing I thought, 72% of human trafficking victims whose country of origin was identified with, The public perception is that human trafficking victims are from other countries. But data from California's task forces indicate the vast majority are Americans. This is California. So it's not people from another country, it's people, our citizens. And then labor trafficking, and this is the one that I'm very passionate about and trying to see if we could get some headway. Labor trafficking is underreported and underinvestigated as compared to sex trafficking. And that's and then I'm going to close it with, which I think is, again, is very important. Alert consumers need more tools to leverage their purchasing power to reduce the demand for human trafficking. So it's like what we purchase. That's why fair trade is really an important thing. Chocolate, I mean, if we knew the story behind chocolate and seeing these kids that are being, actually they're kidnapped or their parents are paying debt bondage and for them to work in the cocoa bean fields, then I think it would change our view. So again, how do we change? What we can do is probably, get my little list over there, it's the little things, and to be more alert, to educate, provide opportunities for people to be educated. And then also, that's why I wanted you to take that brochure. If you identify some things around the issue of human trafficking, what would you do? Because what they said, the Polaris Project has said, people are being rescued because normal folks, not the people that are